On today's show,
the beginning of the business of winter fishing systems, the fish trap.
Stories on ice. Up first, meet an ice fishing legend. Find out exactly what made Dave Genz so famous. Also,
they sit down there laughing at us all day. We're after them, and we're the guys to do it.
We celebrate winter as only Minnesotans can.
Northern Beer and your Minnesota Select GMC dealers present... There you go. Due North Outdoors. Here are your guides, Bill Shirk and Laura Scher.
Welcome to the show. We're glad you tracked us down due north.
Today you're going to get to know one of the biggest names in the game of ice fishing.
That's right. If you don't know Dave Genz, well, you should.
I think the biggest thing right now for the rest of this season, you got to fish from 4 o'clock till dark.
Dave Genz, the ice fisherman, hasn't always been this famous.
But you go out at noon right now, I can't find the fish to catch.
But to understand what got him here, you have to go back a ways, to days long gone.
Really what got me going is I decided I was going to make my living in the fishing industry.
Dave always loved to fish as a kid. He wondered how he might make a living in the business.
The first thing I did was in-home fishing seminars, where like little Tupperware parties. The guys would come over and I did a little slide presentation. We sold them fishing tackle. Then finally it dawned on me that it's ice fishing that I know more about than what most people do, and we started building the fish houses.
By we, he means he and a buddy, Rick Johnson. You see, the two worked as maintenance engineers at American Linen in Minneapolis.
The building would pretty much clear out after 3:30.
After hours, we had this nice shop to work in.
So we'd always work on fish and stuff.
I was using pieces of conduit, half-inch conduit, and I was brazing them together in this box.
And I think that's where the fish trap was spawned.
The beginning of the business of winter fishing systems, the fish trap.
The idea? Simple. A portable box with a tarp that flipped over the top. Then a fisherman could sit inside and fish away from the cold and snow.
Every lake you go to, people would come up and want to check out that fish house. And Dave knew that he had something.
So, at home, Dave built a few boxes. His wife sewed the tarps.
He started that by wanting a fish house for himself redone. So I made one for him, never imagining that he was going to come back home and say, do you know my friend Rick wants one, and Jerry needs one, and Mike needs one.
Even Dave's daughters pitched in.
Yeah, we got paid $1 a fish house each. So $2 a fish house.
They worked in the shop assembling these fish houses.
We could whip through 10 in an hour.
My wife and I are all excited they're going to be beating our door down to buy these things, but that's not how it works. It's a slow process to get it all going.
A process Dave hoped to help along.
It wasn't like we had any money to go out and buy advertising and TV time, so I just spent my time walking from person to person at fishing spots. And I wanted people to see me, so I had my wife sew me a snowmobile suit.
A bright blue homemade suit sewed to match Dave's blue eyes.
You could spot me a long ways away in this bright blue suit.
That blue would later become the color and symbol of the current-day ice fishing movement. But first, Dave had a few other tricks up his sleeve.
Oh, that was its own joy.
One day, Dave came home with a can of these little guys.
It's the colored Euro larva. England is where they're raised. They're flying over from England to Minneapolis.
Suddenly, the Genz family had a bait company.
We sold 1 million maggots in one day, and that was probably the busiest day that I ever seen.
It's definitely the #1 selling bait in the world.
Being a wife of a fisherman, if they're catching fish, this is a good deal, So it didn't matter.
Yeah, they can go.
Dave's other big break came when he got tired of sitting on the ice, not exactly knowing what hid down below.
I used to take my green box and hang the cord down the hole to see if any fish would come by.
One day, he noticed an unusual flash on his sonar.
When we seeing our hook sink on that depth finder, I knew that was going to change the way that ice fishing was going to be done.
Dave could now see his jig in the water. He could see just at what depth it was. He could also see the fish, so he went to work on a magical electronic box, a depth finder that showed fishermen the fish and showed them their bait, the key to catching more fish.
If something comes through, halfway down, you wind up to it and you catch it.
And they're ready to go. You can go take them fishing right now.
People knew Dave was onto something, and his fame quickly grew.
And the guy has become the Gary Roach of ice fishing, Mr. Walleye of ice fishing. He's brought a lot to us with the fish trap. They call it the Ranger boat on ice. The FL8, the blue box, just allowing and teaching people is pretty much what he does.
These days, the shelters are a little bit fancier. Same story for the electronics. Dave now has lines of ice rods, jigs, just about everything used to catch fish through the ice. All of this helped Dave make some headlines.
March 17th, 2003, so not that long ago.
Dave's story made the front page of the Wall Street Journal. It all goes back to his passion to turn ice fishing from the boys on buckets to a high-tech winter sport. These days you can head out to any lake and look around. Look for Dave Genz Blue. It appears Dave's dream has come true.
This is bigger than anybody could dream. It's been fun, it's been exciting, and yeah, she's truly happy what he's doing, and I'm happy he's happy.
Up next, Dave spills a few of his best ice fishing secrets.
If it's easy, you'll do it. If it's not easy, you won't do it. And as I'm getting older, I have to make this ice fishing easier and easier.
Due North Outdoors is brought to you by Joe's Sporting Goods, Strike Master, Aluma Trailers, and by Radco. Due North Outdoors is presented by Northern Beer.
So, Dave Genz has been a giant in the world of ice fishing innovation. But it turns out his style of fishing changed the industry too.
20 below zero looks and sounds like this.
Those trees are already starting to move pretty good, it looks like.
In a comfy Northwoods cabin.
Well, it's 20 below out there right now.
20 below.
Dave Genz can't wait to get out of the house. It is what Dave does. Even at 20 below zero, Dave and his buddies aren't afraid to fish.
I gotta go back inside.
All the ice fishing stuff Dave has designed over the years, well, made ice fishing easy.
Something I always say is if it's easy, you'll do it. If it's not easy, you won't do it. And as I'm getting older, I have to make this ice fishing easier and easier.
The first part of Dave's ice fishing theory, portable shelters, easy to move around, quick to set up, easy to heat.
Yeah, when it's windy and cold out there like it is today, below zero temperatures, you just can't fish properly outside. You need to be in a shelter.
It can be well below zero, and when I'm in my shelter, I'm comfortable.
Nicely above freezing in here. You can see my breath a little bit, but that's it.
I don't want it hot in there. I only want it warm enough that I can take off my gloves and fish comfortably.
In front of Dave there, one of his blue boxes. There's a sonar that shows depth, any fish below him, even his jig bouncing around.
Right now, I'm just above him there, but he's ignoring me.
It's a little like watching, well, a video game.
When I'm looking at that Vexlar and there's this red blip down there, it's not a red blip in my mind. It's a fish. I even talk that way when I'm talking about it. That he's looking at it now. Oh, he backed off.
The other key part of Dave's system, he likes to move around.
Your hand isn't really moving much, but that rod tip is just quivering out there, and it's constant jigging motion, just working that bait.
29 feet, no fish.
Not just move the bait, but move his whole setup.
Keep going, looking, searching until you find them.
fish like it's summer. And you just wouldn't sit there in one place all day.
Let's get out of here. I got another spot not too far.
Folks who fish during summer months constantly move around, so Dave figured, why not do the same thing on ice?
Ice froze up just walking to this new hole.
He'll pick promising spots on a frozen lake and pop holes all over. It's sort of like trolling, winter style.
Mobility is the key to catching more fish, so I have to be able to keep doing that.
Odds are you'll find fish.
That one sunk her a little bit harder. It could be a sunny. Oh, yeah, come on. Yeah. Small bluegill.
Even at 20 below zero.
Yeah, small one. There's just something about sitting in this fish house here with the electronics running and watching your hook go up and down and luring a fish to come in.
Coming up, a winter trip to a surreal fishing spot. And a little advice to keep your auger running ice-free.
Due North Outdoors is brought to you by Auger Outdoors, AquaView Underwater Cameras, and by Northland Tackle.
Winter legend Dave Genz doesn't mind fishing alone.
Tell me if you're seeing any fish on your depth finder and all that stuff.
Nothing. Weeds.
Problem is, he rarely gets to. Seems someone's always around.
Go ahead and tell me what you're doing.
Well, we were up here in this bay here.
Dip it down just a little lower. Tell everybody why you're fishing in the depression. That's not bad, but it's not great. Go ahead.
On this day, buddy Mark Strand documents Dave's favorite fishing tips.
Couldn't have done that any better. How did you know that that's what I was going to ask you to do? We're giving a present to the fishing public because the guy who's the greatest ice fisherman of all time, the guy who changed the sport forever, is still around.
Got him. Not bad.
I think he's very proud of what he has accomplished and what he has done for the sport, but he does not feel that the world owes him anything. He comes off as a humble guy.
This yellow here tells us it's female. The males are orange in this area here. The females are yellow. There, I got him. That's a beauty, yeah. I'm not one that hoots and hollers when I get a fish on the end of my line, but I can sort of get a big grin on my face when I set the hook and the rod bends over and it doesn't come.
He is literally the guy who transformed ice fishing, who brought it from what it used to be to what it is now.
Keep it bouncing, keep it bouncing.
Yes, these days, Dave Genz finds himself in his element, surrounded by his people. He is simply the face of ice fishing.
It's something I would never expected that was going to happen. It still kind of amazes me.
Long ago, Dave set out to change a winter sport. It appears goal achieved.
He deserves all the credit that he gets, and he deserves so much more than what he gets.
He was just Dave Genz. He never changed. I don't think. I still just enjoyed ice fishing.
Check your compass. It's time for the Due North Road Trip. Brought to you by McCarthy Buick GMC in Coon Rapids.
Snow and cold in the dead of winter normally put bass fishing dreams to rest. But just north of Bismarck, North Dakota,
there's one.
You'll find a largemouth haven open 365 days a year.
That's not too bad. That's not cool.
Minn Kota Power Plant uses Nelson Lake water to cool its turbines.
Oh, yeah.
The end result, open water and bass fishing, even at 10 below zero.
Nice black crappie.
Now, don't be surprised if you hook a crappie or two as well.
Good fish.
Plan on using spinning gear. Bait casters freeze up. Nelson Lake, today's Due North Road Trip.
Today's Due North Insider is presented by Rapid Marine.
This time of year, when temperatures get really cold, people start having problems with their ice augers. Specifically, buildup of the ice on the blade. But I'm going to show you a little tip to help avoid all that. It's right here. Cooking spray from the supermarket. All I do whenever I'm going out is I take the auger and I cover the whole thing in cooking spray. All it does is it builds up a protective layer so all that ice and water don't stick to your auger. You know, a lot of times it gets so bad you can't even drill a hole. Try cooking spray and you'll have a good time fishing when it gets really cold.
Hi, I'm Dave Genz with the Ice Team. I've got a tip for you to catch more fish through the ice. When using spikes, Euro larvae, be sure you hook them lightly through the end. There's a pointed end on them and a flat end on them. Get the flat end up, give it a little squeeze and it bulges up, and just barely hook the end of them. In that little bulge, there's a clear liquid called their scent sac, and that's a natural fish attractor. That's a tip for you that can catch you a few more fish through the ice.
Up next, it's time to party on ice.
I have caught one in my fishing days, and they're scary, and they wrap around your arms, and they are kind of icky.
Check your compass. It's time for the Due North Classic.
It's time to celebrate one of the ice fishing world's biggest weekends on the ice, and it's all in honor of a fish nicknamed the pout.
Behold the lowly eel pout, a Minnesota fish so far from pretty, it's become a party.
It's really like Mardi Gras on ice.
Yes, for nearly 30 years, folks have gathered on Leech Lake at Walker, Minnesota for what's billed as the International Eel Pout Festival.
We muddled through it and pulled them up through the ice.
The 3-day fish party includes an eel pout catching contest, of course, but in truth, an ugly fish party was born out of winter boredom.
You know, the festival is kind of a mixture of fishing, angling, and a celebration of winter.
Now, nothing's too serious at the International Festival, including the opening ceremony, lighting not a flame, but a plastic fish.
I have caught one in my fishing days, and they're scary, and they wrap around your arms, and they are kind of icky.
They're sitting down there laughing at us all day. We're after them, and we're the guys to do it.
Now, folks in Walker realize that the eel pout swimming in Leech Lake could be a tourist attraction.
And it's all a part of loving the outdoors in northern Minnesota, and that's what this festival is all about.
Upwards of 5,000 partygoers gather in the name of eel pout.
There is the true fishermen who are after the elusive eel pout, and then there's the rest of us who bring fish houses just to look good, but to be honest, all we've generally ever caught was a perch.
I am the proud captain of this motley crew, the He-Man Pout Hunting Club. We come from Minneapolis, and we've erected our Pout Palace.
Well, we just got a couple slip boppers on there with a couple regular hooks, and we're using some fatheads.
A lot of moving around in order to find the right structure. The wintertime is the best time. They like cold water, so you find them around deeper areas, and deeper lakes have more populations. Look at the size of that fish. Big old mouth. Not a lot of sharp teeth, so you can lip them like a bass.
Now, nobody is more eel pout serious than this family. They fish for a week for a treasure trove of pout.
I'll show you some pout. Right in our live well. We have a lot of fun. We come up every year, we put Christmas lights up, we fish eel pout, we spend a week up here.
While you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, so too with fish. Filet of eel pout is boneless, white and firm, and rich with vitamins A and D. So how does it taste?
Poor man's lobster. It's good.
They are a poor man's lobster.
It's a poor man's lobster.
It tastes very good, actually. It's like a poor man's lobster. Well, we thaw it first, and then we got to cut it, and then we're going to bread it, and then we're going to deep fry it, and then we're going to serve it.
Who would have imagined a love fest for eel pout?
It's frozen.
What's next? Eel pout for state fish? Dump the walleye?
You betcha.
Okay, so my buddies and I actually have a bet on the ice when it comes to eel pout. We will actually pay $1 to the person who will take pout off the line. Some days, if you give in, you can walk away with like 15 extra bucks.
You know what? I think I'll pay my way on that one. Well, anyway, until next time, remember to introduce someone new to the great outdoors.